I want to ask this question for myself, right? Because I was chatting to someone about this, about the impact part, and I felt like, like for me, I'm a very analytical person. I think very big picture, and I think I've heard you say in the past, and I agree with that. Like where you gotta like look into the day to day and like not look at the end goal in a sense, right? Because you focus on that and not enjoying the day to day, and end goal is never as fun as it sounds like, right? But for me, every time I think about impact, and every time I think about, I want to work on this particular, or I want to work on this thing, which would be really cool to help, or whatever, or even for myself, I feel like because the end goal, especially like changing example in this case, in your case, when you were talking about like working on like environmental stuff and changing the thing, like it's so far away, and it's only one piece of probably the bigger problem, right? How do you keep motivated and like that just like just doing that and like just having fun with that one small piece, uh yeah, rather than like I wish everything was this way, like how do you keep motivated in that one small piece, knowing that it would not be the be all end all?
For me, and this is different for every single founder, for me, it's working with a partner that is equally committed to success. And the reason I say that is because there is no person in this world that you can show me that is going to be 100% so committed to the idea day in and day out that when things go wrong, that they're not going to feel some level of self-doubt or some level of what am I doing? But so there's the main way I keep motivated is I work with really, really interesting people. But the other way is that, look, like at the end of the day, you're right. Like when you work on these like really large challenges and you don't see yourself getting closer, and you know that there's this like part of you that you're like, what else could I be doing? Um, what you really have to think about is that, and that's why it's important to like start getting early customers that love you, because then you can go back to them and you can look at what they're doing with your product, and you're really making a difference right now. When you're looking at like, hey, can I change the way that like corporate governance works, like LTSE, that's like Eric restarted, like that. This has been a 7-year journey. We asked him like, what kept you going? And at the end of the day, what he said is like, the thing that matters to me is that we're still making progress. And they've had tons of setbacks. Like when you listen to the overall like narrative, like where they went to and the rejection and everything happening, ultimately it was just like he had a really good group of people who loved what they were doing. He had experience as a startup founder where he knew that this is something that keeps coming up. And the last thing is that he had a core group of people that were like, dude, just pursuing this and is going to make a difference. And the closer and closer you get is going to change the way society and capital markets function. And that's why you need, your company is never what you're building. It's the people you surround yourself with, whether it's founders or customers or advisors or investors. It is never the actual thing you're working on. It is who and how you do it. Everything else is just is imagination and fiction, whether it's called vision or whatever. And when you buy into that fiction too much, it's like believing you're Harry Potter and you want to be a wizard, right? Like no matter how much you read about him, you'll never become him. It's a fiction. But to create, and all companies are really fiction that you're trying to realize. To do this really well, you also need other people that buy into that fiction.